So CCS pricing, what am I doing here? So INR equivalent, let me also write the numbers here. The 5-year MIFOR was what? 6.34%. For 3 years, it is 6.15%. IRS rate, the USD IRS, for 5 years, it is how much? 5-year rate was 3.61% annual. Let me write it annual properly. And for 3 years, the rate is 3.59. Right? These are the market values, right? So, first step in CCS pricing, as I said, INR equivalent of SOFR plus principal, full hedged into rupee is nothing but the 5-year MIFOR rate, swap rate. And that number is 6.34%. What is left now? The 2% spread. Now, this 2% spread starts when 6 months and ends at 60 months. So instead of taking the effect of forward premium on each of these payments separately, I will take the entire effect into one average maturity. How would I get it? Well, average maturity of 2% spread, right? Average maturity of 2% spread is how much? It starts from 6 months and ends at 60 months. 6 plus 60 by 2, 33 months, or nothing but divided by 12, 2.75 years. So 2.75 years is the average maturity of the spread. Now, the forward premium, approximate forward premium applicable for 2.75 years is how much? Well, it is actually nothing but very approximately 6.15% minus 3.59%. Right? So it is approximately 2.55, 2.56. So what we're actually saying is, to convert a dollar payment into rupee payment, you have to apply a forward premium cost of 2.56% per annum. For how much time? 2.75 years. So the total forward premium cost that you have to apply is 2.56% times 2.75. So forward premium cost is nothing but 2.56 times 2.75. So which is 7% approximately. Right? So are we done? So can we simply say that a 2% dollar payment can be converted to rupee payment by adding a 7% extra cost? Well, the answer is no, we're not completely done. Why? Because 2%, this is actual by 360. But here it is actual by 365, right? Which means you would adjust for the day count. Now, how will you adjust for the day count? Well, any rate, 2%, you take any tenor doesn't matter. Let's say 1 year, 1 full year. 2% payment on actual by 360 terms is how much? X% or Y% into same number of days by actual by 365. What is this Y? This is what we need to find out. So how will you do it? Well, these two anyway are irrelevant. So Y% is nothing but 2% times 365 by 360, 5 days extra. So can I say it is 2% times 1 plus 5 by 360, right? So 5 days extra. 5 out of 360 is what? How much is 5 out of 360? So that is the extra, right? You have to add. So it is nothing but 2% plus 2% times 5 by 360, basically. So this factor I have to extra add on to 2% to get the Y, day count adjusted number. So what is this 5 by 360? 5 by 360 translates to 1.4% approximately. Well, you don't need to be too accurate. You can make it 1.5, right? So I will say day count adjustment is 1.5%. So what is the total conversion factor to convert a dollar payment to rupee payment? Is 7 plus 1.5, 8.5%, which means any dollar rate when converted to rupee is higher by, the rupee equivalent rate rather is higher by 8.5%. So now what will say? 2% spread equivalent in INR is how much? It is 2%. So 2% plus extra is how much? 2% into 8.5, approximately 8.5 times 2, around 17 basis points extra. So 2% in dollar terms translates to 2.17% in rupee terms, actual by 360. This now is very consistent with this number, right? So now I can say CCS rate is simply SOFR plus principal was 634 plus the 2%. Instead of adding directly, I converted that from dollar to rupee at 2.17. Both added together is 8.51%, right? So this is my CCS rate in the current market of a loan, 5-year loan at SOFR plus 2% interest payment. So what are the steps? The moment I see a CCS, I basically have to hedge both the principal and the interest. SOFR part of the interest along with the principal, I can approximate it. I can make it equivalent to a rupee loan, exactly equal to the current MIFOR swap rate for that tenor, which is 5 years. So 6.34%. The 2% spread is left, and this 2% spread is something which I have to approximate into rupee. This 2% spread is not one shot. It is getting paid at the end of 6 months all the way till 60 months in a semi-annual frequency. So I have to ideally apply the forward cost to each of these payments individually. But since I'm approximating it, I will simply take the average maturity of all of these payments as 2.75 years in this case. And instead of taking the forward premium cost as applicable to each of these payments separately, I will take all of it to be applicable for one tenor of 2.75 years. And what is the forward premium? Well, the approximate forward premium for this particular tenor start from 6 to 60 months on an average. Instead of taking that as an average forward premium, I will take it as equivalent to the forward premium at the end of 2.75 years as per the current market. As per the current market, what is the approximate forward premium? Well, the 3-year MIFOR and the 3-year swap rate IRS, the difference I've taken as 2.56%, and that I've applied to the full tenor of 2.75 years, and then added the day count conversion impact. The total conversion factor, once I get this number, any dollar payment can be converted to rupee payment simply by multiplying it with this extra cost.